What's up, everybody? This is Daniel Smith with Bueller Roasting Company, and today we're going to talk about pulling espresso shots. So, espresso is one of those beautiful things that I'm still learning a lot about. I feel like anything that you set your heart to, that you want to be passionate about and learn about, I don't think you ever fully master it. You're always looking for new things to learn about it. You're looking for, if you're a musician, you're looking for new chords to play. If you're a poet, you're looking for new words to use, a new way to express. And for myself in coffee, I'm always trying to learn more about what I can do to create a beautiful tasting coffee. And so espresso is one of those things that's like that. I've been a barista for a little over 5 years before I started here at Bueller Roasting Company and pulled a lot of shots of espresso, but some better than others. But I'm going to share with you guys what I do to pull a good shot of espresso. So the first thing that we're going to start with, you'll hear terms a lot of times people use dialing in your espresso. So different coffees are roasted different ways. Different coffees are blended different ways. And so one grind setting is not going to work for all different types of coffees. You're going to need to dial in different coffees every time you change them in your espresso grinder. So that's going to take us to talking about espresso grinds. Now, in grinding espresso, you have really two different kinds of grinders. You have grinders that do not dose your coffee, and then you have dosing grinders that give you the exact amount that you're wanting. And so for espresso, there's different ratios that people use, but I like to use the 1-to-2 ratio. So in a 1-to-2 ratio, what you're going to be looking for is 18 grams of ground coffee to 36 grams of liquid that comes out in your shots. And that's going to be a double shot. So again, we're looking for 18 grams of ground coffee in your portafilter to 36 grams of liquid espresso that goes into your cup. And this is a portafilter. I want to explain all these things to y'all because some of you may know and some of you may not know what these things are called. So when I'm using these terms, I want to make sure that I'm explaining what I'm talking about. Now, a lot of people will say a lot of different things about how much time you want this to take. The time is changed by how fine your espresso is. So the right timing for espresso, for a double shot of espresso, you're normally looking at between 26 seconds and 30 seconds. Recently, I saw a video where this barista that's won awards and done all this has said, that a lot of people are looking for that 24 to 26 second timing for a double shot, but that 30 seconds will blow your mind. And so I've actually started trying to pull my espresso closer to 30 seconds instead of 26. But anywhere in between that, 26 seconds and 30 seconds, you're going to have a delicious double shot of espresso. The way to control that is by how fine you grind your espresso. So I'm giving you guys a whole lot of information on this. But I just want to give y'all some ideas and thoughts so that you can be creative and, go after some adventuring in coffee if you're pulling espresso at home. So let's say you grind your coffee, and you go to load it into your machine and you're doing this and it pulls at, let's say 18 to 20 seconds. Well, that's not slow enough. So you want to slow that down. The way that you're going to slow down your coffee is by grinding it finer. Now, let's say that you grind your coffee and you get it ready and you go to pull it and it's 40 seconds. Well, that's too slow. So to make it where it goes a little quicker, you're going to make it a little coarser. So finer will make it take longer. Coarser will make it go faster. And what we call that in coffee is the contact time. The time that hot water is going to be touching the ground coffee. So that's a few tips to kind of start off with, and a little just surrounding information before we start the video. And so this is what we're going to do to pull an espresso shot. The first thing you're going to need is your digital scale. You want to place your portafilter on top of your digital scale and tear it out. So zero it out with that portafilter on there. Here at Beulah right now, I don't have a dosing grinder. So what I'm going to do is grind some espresso, and I'm going to set my portafilter on there, and I'm going to make sure I have 18 grams of ground espresso in my portafilter. Now, once we have 18 grams weighed out in our portafilter, I've got this little wire whisk thing. I don't even know if that's the common term. I'll look that up after this video, but this just shows you don't have to have all your ducks in a row to make delicious coffee. But I got this for Christmas. I'm excited for it. I love it. There's so many different coffee toys that you can have. And so you're going to use that to kind of, basically what I do is to level that out, to get my grounds evenly distributed in my portafilter, and to make sure there's no big clumpies in my espresso. But mainly what I'm doing is I'm getting this all leveled out. Now, something you can do is take that portafilter and kind of like hit it on the counter just a few times to make sure that everything is leveled out on there. And then comes the tamp. So it's good to have a good weighted tamp to be able to use. Let me show you what a tamp is. This is a tamp. Now, you want a pretty good weighted tamp, something that will easily tamp that coffee down into that portafilter. And so what you're going to do with your tamp, you want to use your fingers on the side of the tamp like so. And you're going to use those fingers to go down on the side so you keep your tamp even when it goes down onto your coffee like so. Now, once you have your coffee tamped, well, let me explain this. When you're tamping, you don't want to use excessive pressure. We're not trying to drive a nail into a board here. We're just trying to tamp some coffee. So whatever your natural pressure is in pushing down in there with just your arm, without like bearing your full body weight, anything like that, you're just going to use your arm's weight. Now, this is important because if you tamp it too hard, it's going to make that harder for that liquid to go through those grinds. The main thing with this when you're doing this is just be consistent. That way you can dial in your grind. If you're being inconsistent with how hard you're tamping your coffee, then your grind setting will be off every time. You could grind it, I don't know if that makes full sense, but like it's just important to make sure you're not compacting that coffee differently every time, because it'll affect how quickly your liquid comes out. So make sure you're tamping consistently. Once you have that tamped well, you're going to run your finger around the rim there and just make sure that there's no coffee grounds right there on the lip of your portafilter. And then I want you to do this. I want you to run the water in your espresso machine without your portafilter in there. Now that's going to rinse that espresso head out a little bit before you put that in there. Every time you pull espresso, it's going to leave a little residue, some coffee bits, some things in there. And so pressing that to make sure you're getting all of that, excess little bits out of there before you pull your shot is important to get a good, clean taste out of your coffee. Now, I do want to say this. This does not replace routine maintenance or routine cleaning of your espresso machine. You need to clean your machine, I would say daily. If you're not using it that often, I would recommend at least weekly cleaning your espresso machine with Cafeza and getting a little brush to go up in there and make sure you're cleaning that out well to keep a good flavor in your coffee. So we're going to press that, run a little bit of water out of there, and then you're going to put your portafilter in a little sideways, like so, and then you're going to pull it to the center to lock it in. Get that thing good and locked in there so that it's not going to leak out. If you don't get it good and locked in there, the water will run out of the sides. Now, it's important to make sure you've got good seals in your espresso machine. If you get that thing locked in and it's still squirting water out the sides and things like that, you probably need a new seal inside of your group head. But if you don't, if you lock it in, everything works well, then your seal should be good. So you just put that in there and then you press start. Now here's the important part, and this is where timing comes into play. You press start on there, and at the same time you start a timer. Now some nicer espresso machines have timers on them. A lot of even at home espresso machines have timers on them. But if not, it's okay. Start a timer on your phone. Get a little, timer to hang by your espresso machine, whatever you need to do. But at the same time you start the espresso machine, start your timer. And you want to shoot again for between 26 seconds and 30 seconds. That's your sweet spot. And we'll start there. And here's the deal. If you try it again, it's about your taste. And again, this is about experimentation and you finding what you like. So if the coffee is a little too intense, make your grind a little coarser and let it take a little less time. If it's not quite strong enough, make your grind a little finer and let it take a little longer. These things will adjust your flavor and get you a really great tasting espresso the way that you like it. So again, we're going to let that pool for about 30 seconds is what we're going to do. And then we're going to shut off our timer and shut off our espresso machine. Pull that out. And there you have it. You have good tasting espresso. Now, a few things that you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to take that portafilter out and you're going to want to hit it on a knock box or dump that in the trash, clean that portafilter out, and then start your group head again without the portafilter in there and rinse it out. Just rinse that out. That rinses the group head. It also rinses out your portafilter. You can put that away. And your espresso machine is then set and ready for your next shot of espresso that you're going to pull. So this is a brief summary of how to pull espresso for lattes, for cappuccinos, or for just Americano or just espresso straight up. Again, there's a lot to be talked about in espresso, and there's a lot more you can learn. I would encourage you to Google it. Look up James Hoffman. He has incredible information out there that can show you all kinds of things about espresso that will help you discover all kinds of things. Coffee is a brilliant thing that we have access to. It's beautiful. You can create it and make it in so many different ways. And each region tastes so vastly different. It's beautiful. Now, the espresso that I used here, this is our Rise and Shine blend. Our Rise and Shine blend works and does incredible for espresso, but I do want to tell you it's not a traditional espresso. There's going to be some bright notes in this espresso that you may not be used to. A lot of people talk about traditional espresso or espresso roast, and those are pretty dark, smoky flavors. I like those flavors in espresso as well. But I've discovered from my palate what I really like. I like some acidity in my espresso that'll cut through in like a cortado. And there's more. I'll teach y'all more about a cortado and lattes and things in other videos. But I personally enjoy adventurous espressos that have some acidity and some bright notes to it. So, but that being said, you do what you enjoy. With that being said, I think that's all for today with how to pull an espresso shot. This is a lot of information. I hope that I've conveyed it well to you guys, but I want to welcome you. Please ask questions in the comments. Please send us messages. We are happy to respond to those questions. And let us know what you would like to see here on our social media. And if there's some other things that you'd like to see, we are totally down for those things. And we're just so thankful to be on this journey with you here at Beulah Roasting Company. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Thank you for trying out our coffee. We always want to encourage you to do that. And it's just such a joy to be on this adventure together. So thank you for being here. And until next time, cheers.